What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Sorry I didn't post on Monday. As many of you know, I shared it in an email that my son actually caught the virus, of all things. Crazy because he's so young, he's only 2 years old, but we're all in isolation at the moment, so it's been a bit crazy. Anyway, what we're going to be going through today is I'm going to break down how to outsource your content, because one of the biggest things that people don't do is they go and hire writers and all different things, and you just kind of order and give them a keyword and a little bit of brief instructions. But in order to really get the best work out of your writers, you need to be training your writers to write for you and the way that you want. Okay, so even if they're a good writer, they're not really great to you until you've trained them in the right way. So one of the ways that I actually do that is with a content brief. So I've shared it many times on the channel before that I train the writers and I give them as much information as possible. But today I'm going to show you a practical example and share a template with you where you can download my personal content brief and use it as your own. So one of the things that we really focus on when we're hiring a writer is you first of all want to establish that they're pretty good. So you want to go out and test different people, and the way you do that is by getting like a short 500-word article. You can usually establish how good they are from that, and then you give them like a brief and you give the same exact article and same brief to all of your writers. So that way you're able to compare and see, okay, this is different and this is how this one compares, so on and so forth. And if you want to see how to vet those articles, then go back to one of my old videos where I share like a proofreading template. I don't personally use it, but it's just the things that I kind of look for in an article to establish whether it's good or not. So I've actually created like a checkbox tick sheet where you can see if they touch base on all those things. But in order for them to touch base on those things, you need to give them the right brief in the first place. So what we need to focus on is inside of any kind of product reviews, we need to establish that they are focusing on benefits and on not features so much, but you do want intricate information and detailed information about products as well. So it needs to have a research intensive tone. I personally go for like a conversational type vibe. Okay, so we don't want something that's like very professional and formal, depending on the type of niche you're in. Like for example, if you're going into like science or trading or something like that, you might be a bit more formal. Whereas even still, I think people like to learn in a fun way, So I always go for a conversational tone. First person is my preference because I think people connect with people, so they don't really connect with like, a company or a brand unless there's people behind that brand or trust, and the way they establish that is with other people. So I always go for a people approach. Okay, I'm for the people. And then after that also I'm making sure that their introductions are very good as well. So the intros need to establish exactly what the article is going to be about. The reader needs to gain interest, or they need to show the reader that they understand what the problem is. Like for example, in the first couple of lines we might be looking at a question that resonates with the reader. We might go and show like a professional quote or something like that, something to show our experience or our research, and we might quote something or a drop of fact that the reader didn't know, something interesting and different. I'll give you an example. One of my articles on about golden retrievers, can't remember the exact topic, but in the first line, they dropped something like, did you know that golden retrievers are the 4th most popular breed in the world? A lot of people might think, oh, I never actually knew that. What else does this person have to teach me? So it's just an interesting fact. People are always keen to learn, and that's why they're potentially searching on the web. One of the other things I'm looking for is bucket brigades. How do the writers carry people over to the next section? And all of these different things, you can't really kind of expect unless you train the writer to do so. So if you're expecting all this stuff without actually instructing your writers to do the right job, then you're the bad egg in the situation. And that's what I really want to amplify and focus on today, because I just want to say to anyone watching this video, a lot of the time the writers are very good. It's actually on your end that you're not a good instructor and you're not giving them the right instructions. So you're expecting some crazy results without actually training that person on how to do it for you. Okay, so it's all about like teamwork and establishing that relationship. What we're going to do is hop onto the computer, and then I'm going to show you an example of a content brief. It's going to be a short video, and we're just going to go through and I'm going to break down each section, and then I'll put a link in the description box so you can download the template yourself as well. All right, so this is one of my actual content briefs here, and this is the way I go through. So I've got one for like buyer intent, and then I've got one for like normal articles. And personally, I create templates around everything. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, like whether you're vetting backlinks or you're creating content, you know, around your site, you always want to use a template. I personally do anyway. It's not for everyone. Some people are more creative, but I always use a template because it's easy to improve upon. So what you see here is very simple. We cannot lie about that, but it's very effective. Like, I can get the best out of writers based on what my requirements are using this exact template. And what happens with this is I refine it over time. So I get feedback. I'm always interested in feedback. So when people give me feedback, the writers, I'm like, okay, what can I tweak or improve on this, you know? And then I've kept on molding it and changing it until I get it to this point. But the thing is, you know, if you didn't have a template, you're just kind of shooting in the dark in that sense, yeah. So you don't really know, like, okay, it's all on your how well you remember, and you know, you don't remember what you had for breakfast last Wednesday. I doubt that, you know. So what we're going to do is we can see that there's a target word count. So whatever the word count is, I go and establish that on Surfer SEO. So many of you have seen my tutorials on that and how to use that. And I'll do videos on, you know, like finding word count and stuff in the future. And then please use a fun and friendly, research intensive tone. So I used to have this like a bit jumbled up and whatever else, but now it's very focused, you know, so I know exactly what I need to tell them in order to get the results, because I noticed that a lot of the time I was giving these instructions to writers and I wasn't getting back the work that I wanted. So one thing that I've recently done is I've got a team of writers and we're all in a group together on Skype. And I think it's the best thing I've ever done, like, because I've got a very strong team. And think about when you're hiring on like iWriter and all these different platforms, you're basically like having to get new people all the time. Whereas if you focus on just getting like your own team, you can train them up as much as you want and then they know exactly what you want. And I'm going to do a video on training writers in the future as well, because that's something I've been doing. Yeah, so write in American English because the audience is US based. So if you got like a site in a different language or whatever else, you know, make sure that they're using the correct wording and tone for that country for those readers. Then we've got must be written in first person, and then I gave an example. Words like I and you, not we or us. Do not use 2 or 3 word sentences unless it makes sense to, okay? Because one of the things I don't like is the short sentences. And if you order an iWriter, you're going to get quite a lot of that. Maximum of 3 lines per paragraph. I don't like these long blocks of text. So I'm instructing them on how to format the article before they even put it across to me, so they can't come back. I said, don't fluff the content to achieve word count. Keep it all on point, yeah? What are you trying to establish with the article? Help the reader make a buying decision, find a solution, whatever. This is an example for you to fill in the blank. So you would come in here and then change that to whatever the article objective is. And what I've noticed is a lot of my writers actually copy that objective and put it at the top of the draft that they send to me, because they use it as a kind of guide to focus them throughout the article. And then example brief instructions. So this must be an informative piece, or this must help blah, 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 XYZ. It's kind of like this, but just in a bit more detail. And then any previous content examples. So the way I usually link this, to be honest, is I go and find the websites that are ranking in the top 10 for the keyword that don't have like backlinks and stuff, so that I know that they're very content oriented of how they ranked, you know, so I know that it's based on good content. And of course you got to manually check it, make sure the content's good and it stands out and all that. And then I've got, you're welcome to add in any subtopics. In fact, please do. I'm telling my writers, don't just think that I'm the only one that can instruct or guide the way this goes. Ultimately, you're the writer, you're the creative person, and you do your job to the best of your ability, you know, so don't let me pull you away from what you do best, okay? And then as we come down, I've got, think carefully about the questions that someone would have if they typed in this question, about the other question, sorry. Use this as a train of thought to guide you in writing additional subheadings and subsections. Okay, so that's just a note to the writer. You know, like for example, when you're writing an informational piece of content, you really want them to get into that mindset. And sometimes I'll swap that out and just write the focus of the article, like, okay, you know, what happened to the reader? Why are they typing this thing? You know, so one of the things I recently wrote on a dog website is, can dogs eat eggshells? Yeah, so like this kind of situation, it's like, okay, what's happened? Someone's probably, the dog's eating it and they're searching for it, you know, like, oh my God, what's happened? Let me figure this out. And they're quickly going onto Google. So that's one scenario. Another scenario could be that they're just curious and they want to incorporate into the dog's diet. or it could be other things, you know. So what you want to do is just help them to understand and think from that perspective before they start writing. Now, you want to write about 120 words in your introductions. I personally keep it short and concise on that. And then you want to use a warm and friendly introduction that resonates with the reader, nice, warm and friendly and genuine. Now, that's optional. Sometimes I'll say use a question that resonates with the reader. So that's another way, or drop a knowledge fact like about something the reader didn't know about this topic, you know, so that just establishes that you know what you're talking about. Okay, then the other thing is tell them what they aim to gain, be direct and active in this section. So what I'm saying is basically like in this section, make sure that you are very direct, like not like, oh, if you read this, you might gain this and that. You need to be very active in your wording. Like, this is what I'm putting forward and this is what you can achieve with it. If you continue to read on, then these are the results you can potentially get, or whatever it may be. So you're not on your side breaking or bending. You're kind of saying, look, if this is what you read, this is what this can do, you know. So that's the potential of it. So this is a buyer intent article, so this is very similar, but it's a little bit different. So as we come down here, and I've got here, like, you know, list out subheadings, that's for you, your information. This one's a little bit different. So we've got product reviews. So one of the things that I'm doing is, if I'm linking out to Amazon products, and I don't always tell them to link to Amazon products, sometimes using other products and whatever else. To be honest, I haven't really been monetizing the site with anything other than ClickBank and Amazon. But obviously those are things that I'm now incorporating to the site and whatever else. But all products, I personally believe, should be at least 4 stars and 30 review feedback. And how I established this is I thought to myself, what's one of the biggest things that I look out for? Like when I'm very good at buying things online, like people know that. Before niche websites, all of that, all my family would come to me and say, can you help me with this purchase? Or you're really good at buying stuff online. I'm like, you know, the one who's really good with that stuff. So I used to think, okay, I always look at reviews. Like that tells me everything, because that's the people, the customers who are giving you the ultimate, you know, truth. So I thought, okay, how can I incorporate that into my site? Because how do I make it convert well? Because these products I'm looking for is the landing page filled out like properly. Because if you got this like very short page on Amazon and it doesn't explain anything about the product, probably not a good one to go for, you know. So I kind of instruct my writers to do that, but just in a short burst, I always make sure that it's at least 4 stars and it has at least 30 reviews. Because if it has like a little 10 reviews or something, you haven't got very accurate reading of whether that's a good product or not. So I needed to make this templatized, like in a way that it can just go out to all of my writers, whoever comes in, and they'll be able to kind of pick the same products all the time. All right, so each of my product reviews I keep to about 200, 250 words. Some people do it much longer. That's personally what I use, because I'm reviewing like 7 products on a review, on a roundup review, or whatever it may be. Then unique selling point of the product. That's what I always ask them to open with. Like, what is the unique thing about this? You know, like if we're saying this is best for large dogs, like how, you know, why is it the best for large dogs opposed to the other ones? They're all like roughly the same size bed. So maybe this one specifically has like a cushion that caters to dogs because they have a longer spine, or whatever it may be. So there could be different things that is very interesting. So you want them to really get in that mindset and think of, you know, what's unique about this product that I can put forward that matches what I'm putting in the subtitle. And then we've got detailed info about the product. So I really want them to dive in at this point and just explain detailed information about this product, like what does it do, how does it work, all that kind of different stuff. Benefits of the product, like what change does it bring to someone's life? You know, if someone's getting this over the other 7 on the list, what's the benefit of this? Like, how does this stand out? So it's again like a unique selling point, but you know, sometimes a unique selling point could even be warranty. You know, so it could be like, oh, well, you know, this product gives you warranty, so that might not be a benefit, you know, so much. Benefit is that what does the product do that brings change? You know, so that's what you need to look at. Then you got best suited purposes that it will provide a solution for. Then I put, this is likely a problem that the reader is experiencing too. Be as detail oriented as possible. What does the product specifically help with? Then I said, these bullets are what I want to be incorporated. Now, the reason why I put that in there is because what used to happen is I'd get people writing directly answering each of those bullet points. Like, I think the best purpose for this product is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. This is just incorporated. I just want you to kind of touch on this stuff and incorporate it into your style of writing, not actually actively answer it like a question and answer. So that's how I improved that. So you can see how I've made these little changes over time. and it really helps my writers. I don't get that problem anymore just by putting this in here. So we've got these bullets are what I want to be incorporated to your reviews. It's copywriting, not to be directly answered. So I'm very clear on that. Do not start with words like this product or fourth place, so on and so forth. That's one of the things I just hate. I don't know if everyone does. I personally don't find that good copywriting. If you're going first up, second up, blah, 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 it's boring. Yeah, then after your 200 word review, at this point, sometimes you're going to do key features or sometimes you're going to do pros and cons. And I said pros and cons are simply the good stuff and the bad stuff, not benefits and features. Because what you get is people listing out, it's 170 centimeters long and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no. What's good about it and what's bad? You know, like, oh, they don't have warranty. You know, the shipping's not, it doesn't ship that fast. All these different things. So those are the things people want to know. They don't really care about specific features for the majority of products. It depends on what they're buying, of course, yeah? And that's really about it, to be honest. So let me just... Yeah, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. So I think it was a little bit of a longer video than expected, but I think this is really helpful for the majority of people out there, because this will help you to create content in the right way. Also, create more templates for different things. So use this as like a baseline to go off, and create different, like, you know, briefs for different things. So for example, if you're doing like a single product review, have a template that you use for that. But sometimes you can't always do that. But what you want to do is just have a bunch of bullet points that you need the reader to incorporate into that article. And the quickest way to find out how to do that is just go and see what's working. The best thing about Google and doing any kind of Google or YouTube or anything that requires search engine ranking is you can go and see what's working. You know, it's right there. The answers are in the top 10 list. So go and check what others are doing. Go and decipher their content and find out what they're doing that's working so well, and then improve upon it, you know. So use it as a foundation and improve upon it. So we want to use the word emulate, not copy, yeah? All right, but that's about it really. I mean, if you're new to blogging, online business, or whatever else it is, you want to really use this kind of stuff to help you out to start out. And this will help you to write things and construct things in the right way. If you are brand new to the channel, then you want to consider subscribing, or let me be active, subscribe. Yeah, like my wording I'm saying. And yeah, drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. I've got many more videos coming out. Leave some comments as well about like different things that you want to see, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to create content non-stop. Like, you know, I've got a list of different pieces of content I want to create, but it's not always the stuff that's popular on YouTube. So sometimes you think, I'm going to create this video, but it's not going to perform well and things like that, because you start to understand how it all works, you know. So I don't know, you ultimately decide on what you want to see, and the more you help me, the more I can help you and better craft the content. All right, so just drop a comment with anything that you're having trouble with or you need help with, and I'm sure I'll be able to help you with that. And I'll be doing an update on the niche website that I'm building, you know, the case study site that I've had, the first site. In the next week or so, I'll do an income report video so you guys can see the progression of that as well, which has been quite stagnant, I'll tell you from the beginning now. But the whole thing's growing again, like, but just very slowly. I think, like, to be honest, December will be a big change for the site, and then January I think I'll start to see like crazy growth, you know. So we ain't gonna hit the target by December, but as I said before, I don't really mind, because like if I hit it, you know, mid next year or whenever it comes now, it doesn't matter. I wasn't supposed to, you know, redirect the site. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace.